great journey needs a beginning, and mine began with Walton Heath. This is one of the most heralded heathland golf courses in England, shaped by Herb Fowler, a master architect of his time. Walton Heath is both home to the old and new, but it was the old course that welcomed me, and it did so with a firm handshake. The opening hole, a 230-yard par 3, two bunkers guard the front, out of bound lurks behind. From the first swing, the course makes its intentions clear. The terrain here is flatter than many heathland courses I've played, but the challenge lies in its firmness, its speed. Long carries over heather, demanding approaches. Every shot asks a question, and not all answers come easy. Walton Heath is more than a golf course. It's a piece of history. Host to the 1981 Ryder Cup, countless European Tour events, and recently, the Women's AIG Open in 2023, it remains timeless. For any golfer seeking the finest heathland experience in England, Walton Heath must be on their list. A course that begins a journey and stays with you long after it ends. My favorite hole came late in the round, the par 5 16th. A dogleg left that is well guarded on the left by trees, to the right by heather. An optimum position to attack this hole is on the right, but be very cautious playing this hole. I hear it's a favorite of members. I can understand why. It's beautiful, it's elegant, it's challenging. The bunkers are well placed and deep. It's definitely a hole that you walk away thinking, I could have done better. Did I maximize my opportunities? It's a beautiful stretch of golf. Woking Golf Club was the second stop on my journey through England and Wales. A trip mixing top 100 courses with hidden gems. If Walton Heath set the stage, Woking was a revelation. For someone who has truly fallen in love with heathland golf, Woking felt like a timeless masterpiece. The land here undulates gently. Heather drapes the fairway like a violet carpet. Tall pines stand guard, framing every shot in cathedral silence. There are no tricks. Nothing's hidden. Woking is golf in its purest form. On paper, the numbers won't intimidate you. Just over 6,600 yards, par 70, but don't be fooled. What Woking lacks in brute length, it more than makes up for in character, charm, and sheer enjoyment. It's a reminder of how brilliant golf can be when a course works with the land rather than against it. What struck me the most was how much fun Woking is to play. Among the heathland courses I visited on this trip, it was the most enjoyable round from start to finish. It's a course that doesn't try to overwhelm you, but instead keeps you engaged with its clever design, strategic challenges, and undeniable sense of place. And yet Woking can sometimes be overlooked. For those who pass on it, they're missing out on one of England's greatest golf experiences. To walk these fairways is to walk in the footsteps of history. This was the course that showed architects what strategy could mean. A single well-placed bunker on the fourth hole forever changed the way golf course was designed. A place where the game speaks softly but deeply. For me, Woking Golf Club is a must-play, not because it's the longest or the most difficult, but because it offers something rarer, a kind of round where you walk away smiling and eager to return. Hankley Common was the final heathland stop on my journey across England and Wales. I didn't know much about it, just that it held a place in the rankings I trusted, and it happened to be along my route. But sometimes it's the courses you know the least about that leave the deepest impression. From the moment you pass through the gates, Hankley feels different. The land stretches out wide and endless, fairways drifting over gentle waves of heathland. It feels untouched, almost eternal. This is the work of James Braid, later refined by Harry Colt, two architects whose fingerprints can be found on some of the finest courses in the game. Here the design whispers rather than shouts. Elevated greens, bunkers placed with purpose, heather framing every line, the kind of golf that asks for power and thought. What struck me the most about Hankley was the balance, a beautiful combination of serenity and challenge, compelling from start to finish. Hankley Common isn't just another stop on the map, it's a reminder of what heathland golf can be: strategic, beautiful, timeless, a course that lingers with you long after you've played it. My favorite hole was the 18th. A dog-legged right with no bunkers, fairly tight fairway, just a deep gully guarding the green. To the surface, you had to send the ball high and long and have it land soft and true. Missing your line meant a difficult up and down that is anything but simple. It was a perfect ending to a round that surprised me at every turn. Sometimes, the greatest surprises in golf are the ones you least expect. For me, that surprise was Pennard. Set high on the Gower Peninsula, Pennard is known as the lynx in the sky. More than 200 feet above sea level, and yet it feels every bit as true lynx land. Rippled fairways, towering dunes, dramatic elevation changes, and views that will stop you in your tracks. From nearly every hole, you see it all. Sweeping beaches, Oxwich Bay, castle ruins clinging to a cliff, even herds of cattle wandering freely across the course. Each green roped off, as if to remind you that here, nature still has the final say. This is James Braid's work, one of the oldest golf courses in Wales, and it feels like an adventure from the very first tee. Elevated tee boxes, greens perched high, bolt carries across dunes. On a calm day, it's pure fun. In the wind, it becomes a stern and noble test. But Pennard is more than a challenge. It's character. No two holes alike, every shot an invitation to try, to imagine, to dare. It's not just the course. The members and the pro shop staff were warm, welcoming, and genuinely passionate about their club. I was playing solo. I crossed the path with a few members who eagerly told me what was still ahead, despite the fact that I had just stood on a green overlooking a castle, mountains, and sea in every direction. They were right. Holes 14 through 17 was one of the greatest runs of golf I have ever played. favorite holes from this course is the 14th, a short par 4 with a blind landing area. Hidden bunkers in that blind landing area. Once you get there, you are facing a severely elevated green. Its challenges every way you can look. It's a perfect execution of a short par 4. One of my favorite holes, also one of the most difficult holes I've ever played, is the 17th hole, par 5. Blind tee shot to an extremely narrow fairway that tilts right. Right is also dead. Drop off to gorse. The tee shot landing area is also cut short by a mound, of course, covered with gorse. This leaves an awkward short layup shot or a very difficult, but possible, but very difficult second shot into a very narrow green. If you ever find yourself within a few hours of the Gower Peninsula in Wales, make the effort to get a tee time at Pennard. This beautiful, rugged course is a must play. It's one of those rounds you'll carry with you forever. And when the day is done, the seaside town of Swansea makes a perfect place to stay, eat, and reflect on what you've just experienced. Perched high above the seas, on the Cornish coast, there is a place where golf feels like it's played among the clouds. That place is Perranporth. After my first round in Wales, I crossed back into England to explore golf in the southwest. What defines Perranporth? Its stunning views, amazing terrain, and the multitude of blind shots. Tee shots disappearing over dunes, approaches struck to greens you cannot see. It is golf that asks for trust, imagination, and courage. Perranporth is very underrated in the southwest of England. It comes in at a great price, but Perranporth isn't for the golfer who seeks comfort and predictability. It is for the adventurous at heart, for the one who sees beauty in the unexpected, the one who finds joy in the unknown. For the first-time visitor, the challenge of the never-ending blind shots, the constant uneven lies can feel overwhelming. And yet, that's part of the magic. Each round here is an adventure. And if you want the best chance to unlock its secrets, I think getting a caddy might be the best way to go. Their knowledge should turn a round of uncertainty into confidence and make a walk that's truly unforgettable. favorite holes at Perranporth is the 8th hole, a short par 4. You start off with, of course, a blind tee shot, giving yourself a nice 220 to 250 yard landing area. You could possibly attack the green, but the best part is the view. Perranporth was a great addition to this trip. Very budget friendly, you get more golf than what you pay for, and it's a great addition to a trip that already is going to have St. Enodoc in it. Play it once and you'll be left wanting more, play it twice, and you may never want to leave. Perranporth should definitely be added to your Southwest England golf trip. St. Enodoc was one of the true standouts of my trip through England and Wales, and to be honest, one of my all-time favorite golfing experiences. Set in the stunning Cornwall region of southwest England, the church course is James Braid at its finest. This isn't just another links course, it's a masterpiece carved into dramatic terrain. The holes weave across rolling ground, climbing over and around towering dunes. It feels less like something built and more like something discovered. struck me the most was how unique this beautiful course is. From the seaside views to the hillside panoramas, every corner of St. Enodoc offers something to marvel at. But what makes it unforgettable is the course's character. It surprises you, challenges you, and keeps you guessing. You never once feel like it's a gimmick. Each hole unfolds like a chapter of a great novel. You're always eager to see what comes next. I went in knowing little beyond the famous Himalayas bunkers, and perhaps that added to the sense of discovery. The positioning was superb, but it was the uniqueness of the design that left the deepest impression. As someone fortunate enough to play many of the world's top 100 courses, it's easy to become numb to expectations, to feel like you've seen it all before. St. Enodoc shattered that. It surpassed every expectation and reminded me why I fell in love with this game in the first place. There's so many great holes at St. Enodoc. One of my favorites is the 14th par 4. This is the highest point on the course, beautiful views, lots of wind. It's kind of a shortest par 4. In the fairway, everything is falling left to right, and the green is protected by out of bounds and a steep drop off. This stunning par 5 is my favorite of the par 5s at St. Enodoc. Starting off the closing stretch of holes, the amazing views may be a distraction. The fairway tilts right to left, drives must stay to the left. It leaves a difficult approach that you can use a fairway metal or a long iron. And you really have to be cautious about the tiered green and making sure you get your ball in the right position. St. Enodoc isn't just a top 100 golf course in the world. This is a course that belongs on every golfer's bucket list. A truly outstanding golf experience. Royal Porthcawl, in the heart of Wales. A course I dreamed of playing for over 15 years. And finally, 15 years later, it was everything I imagined. The round begins with a magnificent stretch of seaside holes. Fairways rise and fall across undulating terrain, the sea glinting in the distance. Every shot demands thought. Every lie challenges your imagination. Along the beach, walkers paused and cheered on my putts. It was an epic experience. As you move inland, the course becomes more heathland in character. The gorse begins to frame holes. Clever bunkering tests your strategy. Every shot has purpose. Every hole feels deliberate. There are no wasted moments here. Royal Porthcawl has history whispered into every corner. It has hosted the Senior Open, and just a month after my visit, the Women's Open. Its layout, conditioning, and facilities are world-class. In my opinion, it could host the Open and would represent Wales with pride. I maybe only have one critique about Royal Porthcawl, and hear me out. It may be too perfect, too organized, too everything right. In my journeys, I've grown quite accustomed to courses that have a lot of quirk and character. And that's not to say that Royal Porthcawl doesn't have character, but it's definitely not quirky. It's a very straightforward course that is marvelous. It really has no errors in my opinion, but it also doesn't have that thing that makes you think, what's coming around the corner? An outstanding course, and its greatest flaw is that it's flawless. One of my favorite holes at Royal Porthcawl is the 13th par 4. From the tee shot, beautiful views of Swansea Bay, but you need to lock in. Difficult dogleg left, into the wind, your landing area is well guarded by fairway bunkers. The green is downhill into the wind, and very well guarded by more bunkers. finishing stretch is breathtaking. The 18th brings you back to the sea. One of my favorite holes, this par 4 is downhill into the wind. The second shot is into a 3-tier green sloping towards the sea. A perfect stage for a dramatic, memorable close to a flawless round. Sometimes the best courses aren't the ones everyone talks about. Burnham Berrow is one of those hidden gems. It was the last course added to my itinerary across England and Wales, perfectly located on my route from Cardiff, Wales to London, England. I didn't know what to expect, but from everybody I talked to along my journey, people kept saying it's one of the best courses and it's so much fun. From the moment I drove through the gates, I was in awe. Burnham Berrow is a links course shaped by some of golf's greatest architects, Herbert Fowler, C.H. Allison, Alistair McKenzie, and Harry Colt. Their combined influence leaves a course that is both challenging and endlessly engaging. The fairways weave undulating terrain and massive dunes. The course has a rugged, wild feel, with clever, demanding bunkering and water that comes into play on a few holes, unusual for a traditional links course. The par 3s feature intricate green complexes, each presenting a unique challenge. The fairways are tight off the tee, and while a few blind shots, the course feels fair, asking only for accuracy and thoughtful strategy. was a moment I'll never forget. At the first tee, the starter noticed my American accent, and he said, "You need your flag raised." I politely declined. But when I finished on 18, there it was, the American flag fluttering in the wind. A small gesture, but one that made the round unforgettable.